and I'm a speech and language therapist and instructional tech specialist. I'm here with Amy Reid and Nathan Curtis. Can you guys describe what you do?
Sure. We both work at Waldo County General Hospital in Maine, and we've been doing telepractice. Well, Nathan longer than me. He helped develop the program there. But I've been doing telepractice for almost 9 years. And yeah, Nathan can talk a little bit about the program.
and on so we're both telepractitioners, and Amy works full time at home, and in my role, I coordinate the tele OT and tele speech services at multiple sites throughout Maine, and get to work with a great staff of people at Waldo County General Hospital.
Very cool. And I currently work at a private practice called the Ely Center in Needham, Mass. And we do a lot of individual language therapy and groups. We have a focus on social communication, social cognition, um, and we've been bringing kids together in physical groups for since about 2001. So I've been doing telepractice for about 7 days um, because we have been uh, making a rapid transition to that format given the current emergency and school closings and wanting to support this socially fragile population who still need help and supports through this time. But it's been awesome because I've known Nathan and Amy for many years, and because of my blog, Speech Techie, they've asked me to come up and do some training sessions on what's available for web tools and how to use Google. And I've done that through the lens of someone who has done it as an in-person therapies and doing whole class lessons and things like that. But thankfully, all of that experience with them and getting knowledge from them has really helped me a lot in the last week as we've made this quick move. And so I'd like to say before I not a telepractitioner, but I play one on TV. But now I can't say that anymore because uh, been doing. I'm now what's today will be my fifth group. So we're doing group sessions, which adds a whole other layer of fun, of course. But it has been going. It has been going really well. So what we want to talk about today are roughly, five things to think about, and that is completely a misnomer of a title because we might be going into more than five things, but we're going to try to keep this to about 10 to 12 minutes. As you are trying to make a move into telepractice or distance learning or transporting therapy into another format, it seems to me that in the United States, people are in vastly different places on what they're being asked to do currently, and even in my own state of Massachusetts, that's the case. So I don't know where you're at on that, but for many people, that's involving some step into providing therapy from a distance. So let's start with, let me see. Amy was awesome enough to kind of make us a little outline here. And our first topic was eliminate the need for perfection. I went over to the outline. No, I didn't. Yes, I did. That will show the outline. So I'll try not to do that again. Maybe you guys can tell the next thing. So here's my inexperience shining through. But it was just a Google Doc, not my email or something. So anyway, all right. So eliminate the need for perfection. What are your thoughts on that?
So I think that comes to mind, always comes to mind when I'm first speaking with people who are starting out telepractice because suddenly the physical treatment space has shrunk so dramatically. But despite that dramatic transformation, the possibilities within the screen are endless.
Mm-hmm.
And that can be really inspiring, but it can also be really overwhelming.
Mm-hmm.
So I think just giving yourself permission to start small and start with the things that you know you can do risks. And especially in this time, a lot of the families we're dealing with are really in crisis mode,
Hmm.
and I think we just need to work with them and set the example that it's okay for us not to be perfect because it's okay for them not to be perfect, and start from there, because otherwise it can really, you can really freeze before even getting going.
Yep, don't get overwhelmed. Yeah, start with what seems doable. You can show this on the screen. You can have this conversation about this. You can elicit language around this visual. Yeah.
I think the
Go
second
ahead, sir. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
I think this the second tip that's important is to get some training, but go to ASHA, go to the Telepractice portal page, look at the information that's there, and get that background information so that you can make your best decisions on how you want to go about doing telepractice.
Hmm.
And within that, there are huge numbers of topics that when you go to your next stage of developing questions that you'll have at least some information as a foundation of which to talk to a consultant or talk to the people that could be training you.
Hmm.
But that's always a very good start. It's yes, you're going to find Facebook pages, and people are very willing to help you. But I think it's important to start with the ASHA information because it has been peer reviewed. It has been updated pretty regularly.
Yeah, that's really good advice.
And I also want to tie it back to eliminating the need for perfection. Although I say that, I feel like it's also really important to highlight, though, that ASHA does identify that the use of telepractice needs to be equivalent to the quality of in person services. So that doesn't mean that it's perfect, but that means that we really do need to use ASHA as our guiding star and make sure that we're covering the basics when we get going. And I think if you look at ASHA, it becomes less overwhelming to do that.
Yeah, that's a good point. And one of the things I do, because I do so much social, cognitive therapy and social cognitive groups, I do a lot with my students that's kind of experimenting and having a conversation about like, let's try this game, let's make up our own game, and then making notes to self about like, oh, maybe it would be better if we do this differently. And while we can't so much play like big physical games or games where we move around a lot, I have found that trying out because I have an hour usually, like a 10-minute activity with a web game or a Mac app, because I've been going kind of to more to the Mac App Store or even from Steam, which is a platform that lets you download games, saying to them, this might be laggy, I might have trouble giving you cursor control, we're going to try this out, and your targets are be flexible, think of what we could do differently, um, you know work on patience, taking turns while we try this social experience together. So in that sense, those are social cognitive competencies that can happen while an activity massively fails, and that's okay. If you've got a group that can handle that, if there's kids that are going to completely deregulate over that, then you wouldn't do that, and you know your clients best.
And I know that the focus sometimes can be on the materials, especially after you have invested a lot of time getting things organized for a session. But really, your best material is within your clinical skill and how you want to lay out, how you want to present information, the speed of which, and where it takes you. Being able to be flexible and go with the moment of a session, I think, is very important.
The online opportunities this past week for professional development were really great. The SLP Telecon, which is still available for replay, as is the teletherapy boot camp. So both of those are free and people can take advantage. And one of the themes there too was there was a terrific presentation I saw today where the presenter was just showing what you could do with a Word doc. Just having a Word document open and doing a chart and having the kids either take over and type or just verbally say what should go on the chart, or showing a picture and doing inference and inference and justification, evidence for that, and that was really terrific. I can't think of the presenter's name right now, but I'll look it up while you're talking, and so I can definitely give him credit for those ideas.
I think it's great to bring that up because it really, I always go back to it doesn't have to be fancy to be effective. And like our clinical thinking and our clinical clarity um, play a huge role. It's not just about technological ingenuity. However, as somebody who has been doing telepractice and has also kind of used Sean as a mentor for his technological ingenuity and
Thank you.
his tying that in with the methodologies, it's really exciting to see the amazing thing that the different amazing things that really great therapists are translating into telepractice. So that's exciting to see. You know, I look forward to seeing the ways that the people that do really embrace the tech kind of elevate telepractice because I think we're going to see that happening a lot.
Yeah, definitely. That was it's Bill Bolden, and he's in Ohio, and his presentation was creating and adapting therapy materials for telepractice, and that was part of SLP Telecon, and he focused on simplicity, and I thought he had some really great ideas, so people should go and watch that one, because it really gives you, he's saying it does not have to be super interactive. It can be simple.
The other thing that we always try to do at our site, and I think you mentioned it earlier, is to reflect on what worked and what didn't work in a session. And we do iterations. And so sometimes it can be a simple material and it gave us all the clinical targets we wanted. And sometimes we realized that perhaps the material, although engaging, really didn't get the practice in that we wanted for those clinical targets. So, that's the balance. I think sometimes people new at it put so much energy into finding these engaging things or games that they don't really get a chance for the student to practice what they really should be practicing within a session.
Hmm. Yeah, I found in the last week that just allowing the conversations to take place has been really important because, you know, in the process of we're giving these students a voice, which is important in a social group to explain what's happening in their household, how are they dealing with this crisis currently, and you can still be a reframer, a reinforcer, we're not psychologists, but there's lots of good resources out there on the overlap between CBT and SLP, and right now that's kind of important. One of my students was saying, well, one good thing about this week is I've just been able to play a lot of video games, and I don't usually get the chance to do that anymore. And another student in the group said, I've heard that we can think of this as kind of like a guilt-free time. And it's like, that's really awesome and so insightful. You really have to be gentle with your own emotions right now, and not be crushing down on yourself for what you're thinking or feeling. And they're telling stories, in the process of doing that. So right in our wheelhouse, the narrative language piece, just having those conversations taking place, at least, on my end.
Absolutely. And I think, especially starting out telepractice, kind of that downtime, which is still clinical time, feels a little less comfortable, maybe because you're gearing up, and then once you're on, you're on. So, kind of that pause time can feel a little different in telepractice before you get used to it, but it's really valuable.
Hmm.
Um, just like it is in person. It just doesn't necessarily, when you're in person, it doesn't necessarily always feel like you're in the spotlight. You have a sense of more transition time, but you still allow yourself that transition time during telepractice.
Yeah.
And I think there's planning that's done in a different manner. And when we've done our training and even the people that come on board new to our staff, they talk about how their in-person services have been enhanced and improved by doing the tele, that they're more explicit, they're more inclusive with the people on the other side, and more direct with and clear with their directions that are being offered.
Hmm. That's a really good point. I was thinking that, how terrible this freaking situation is. I'll say that F word, but that it provides us this opportunity, for us, I guess, to grow if we're gonna go with this. That's an opportunity for growth.
It is for everyone, and even for people like Nathan and I who have been doing it a long time. Again, like there's just all this creativity and new ideas popping up right now.
Cool.
So it really is.
And one thing that people may think that it's been an easy transition for us, but it has been a lot of work too. So even though we have all of the materials and the background there, now we're having all parents being the support people,
Mm-hmm.
and we've had some in the past, but it's one thing to schedule with a school with a familiar person, and it's
Mm-hmm.
another thing to schedule out with all the families.
Oh yeah,
That's a benefit too,
yeah,
because now they really are seeing what their child is doing,
yeah.
and we can go in and talk about the purpose of it and why that's important, just like we would with an e-helper at school.
Yeah, it's important not to just see the difficulties, but the opportunities and the benefits. Maybe we can wrap up with, I'm always an advocate for context, and I think context will continue just to be a good tool for me. I have one student who we've been doing. He loves travel and he loves geography, and we've been doing the Carmen Sandiego Google Earth games. There's three of them, and we got through like one and a half in person, and so met with him this week, and we moved right into that again, and found ways to scaffold a story retell of what we had done so far in the game with his mother present, which was again good opportunity, and then we're doing some sentence sentence construction, sentence combining with just an image of Carmen Sandiego, which my graduate student found, which is awesome. Just threw that onto a Google slide, and I'm really, it's still really helpful when you can find an engaging context and just roll with it. That's what I'm still doing too. Cool. Well, do you guys have anything else?
I just feel like we should give a shout out to SIG 18.
Yes. Oh, yes. Yes. We had said, yeah. Join. I've always been a special interest group person for language, the language and literacy, language learning, whatever number that is. I forget, but I'm always in it, and I will join pronto because I'm a good example of. Oh yes, I have to do that. I haven't done that yet because we're all like juggling so many things. But I think
And
that's
if you
really good.
belong to another SIG, you can access what's available in SIG 18.
Yeah. Do you find that the online discussions are good too, as well as the perspectives journal, or within the group, are there any particular resources you recommend?
I think
Well,
there's some really helpful active people in that group.
Okay.
So
So just being checking out the group.
and I think it's important to know that I know people are jumping into telepractice, some for the first time, and that there are people who do that for a business and have been doing it for quite some time. So they're a resource if you want to reach out, even beyond any training that you do online. There are consultants who can guide you with very specific questions you might have. They're available to you. Um, and the SIG 18 is great, and it's been ramped up because of of the number of conversations that have been happening in the past few weeks.
I bet.
The ATA is also an interesting website which can give you information in context throughout the country, as well as the Asher portal. So those three are pretty solid resources for anyone to look at. I go back and reread it periodically because there's new information in there, and it's important to get those white papers on different topics understood.
Cool. Cool. Well, thank you guys so much for everything you've taught me through the years and for being here today and having this conversation. I hope is helpful for people to just be reassuring, and um, hope we provided some resources for you. I don't know if that was 5 tips. How many tips was that? Do we want to make a guess? I don't know. Who cares? Let's We're just doing it. Okay, I'm gonna stop recording. Thanks everyone for watching too. Okay.